Carla, your report sheds light on what you call the $1 trillion blind spot. Talk to us about the gap, the continued gap that there seems to exist between talk and action.
Absolutely. Well, I'll tell you, I'm encouraged by this report, frankly, Emily, because it does show some progress from this time last year. And I do think that the Black Lives Matter movement, as well as the broader social unrest on the back of racial inequities in the country, has changed some minds. In fact, that's what this report says. It says that VCs are now more likely to consider investing in multicultural entrepreneurs, in fact, 68%. But the thing that was really exciting to me, frankly, was that 75% now say that they believe that you can invest in multicultural entrepreneurs and still do well and have outsized performance. And that is huge, because if you remember 10 years ago, 15 years ago, when people first started investing around ESG, there was this whole question of whether or not you could do well while doing good, and I think to have this admission now is a big deal. Now, no question, there is still a huge inequity because, as you know, reports show even in 2019 that women received less than 4% of traditional VC dollars and people of color less than 2%. But the fact that the awareness has shifted in this last 12 months, I'm very optimistic about what we might see this time next year when we do the report, especially given the other things that the report talks about with respect to people now being more aware of the performance in their own portfolio of the companies that they have invested in with multicultural entrepreneurs. For the most part, these companies are doing better in the portfolio. So just paying attention and the awareness, I think, is going to make a difference.
So what's your thought on the NASDAQ move today requiring companies to have a woman and a person of color on the board, but not making it a rule? Companies can simply explain why they don't have one and still move forward, though certainly putting the pressure on.
Well, I think, frankly, it was a profound and provocative statement. When I read it, the first thing I thought was, wow, #leadership, right? Because they are an important player in the ecosystem. And for them to make this statement and to say that they're, frankly, going to advocate with the SEC to make it a requirement and to put that out there, I thought showed real leadership. And I think it will certainly accelerate the change.
Now, at the same time, we're seeing companies in Silicon Valley. I don't know if you're familiar with the Coinbase controversy, where the CEO, Brian Armstrong, has said they're not going to take on activism around social causes that are not directly tied to cryptocurrency. A number of African-American employees have left. A number of other employees have left. At the same time, you see evidence that we're moving 2 steps forward. There's evidence that we're moving 3 steps back. How do you not let that some of these more pessimistic developments hold you back?
Well, in full disclosure, Emily, I'm a glass half full kind of gal. And the fact that company after company has come out and made a statement around what they stand for with respect to, their focus on diversity, inclusion, and equity, and then belonging, and that they are actively trying to do something about it, I think that far outweighs that one instance. And here's the other thing that makes me optimistic, Emily. I frankly think that millennials and Zers, which are largely becoming the dominant population in the workforce, they're going to turbo boost that which boomers and Xers have tried to do for the last 20 years, because their idea of excellence is to see multicultural folks in positions of leadership and also people who are on boards. That's their idea of excellence. They have seen women lead, and they have also been in institutions where they've had a smart Black kid on the left, smart Hispanic kid on the right, smart Indian kid in front of them, smart Asian kid behind them. That's what excellence looks like. Whereas 30 plus years ago, when I was walking out of Harvard Business School, excellence in corporate America was, frankly, 6 white men at the top. Pick the company. That's just what it looked like. So you knew as a person of color that if you wanted to play, you had to be comfortable being the first and the only in many rooms. That is not the case for what millennials see as excellence in corporate America. And they want to work with companies that are aligned with their values. And if they don't see it, they won't go. And if they go, they won't stay. And that will compromise any company's objective of being the employer of choice.
What about in the federal government? Joe Biden's economic team is rounding out. What do you make of his cabinet picks so far?
One word for you, Emily: exciting.
Exciting, why?
Well, because it's diverse. And one of the things that I've said a lot in public is that as the leader, you should avail yourself of all the talent that is in the marketplace. That if you have homogenous thinking at your decision-making table, you are likely to have a gap in your go-to-market strategy. So in order to make sure that you're serving all of your customers, all of your constituents, which, by the way, in this country happens to be a diverse population, you need to make sure that you are availing yourself of all the diverse thinking. So I'm actually excited about what I've seen so far.